President Draghi, welcome again to Econ, and can I just put on the record my thanks to you for your remarks at the end of the plenary session in Strasbourg, where you spoke about a willingness to visit member states, including my own. We really appreciate that as a good engagement with policymakers for future discussions. Two quick questions, because I know we're stuck on time. The first relates, this is your first time to be with us since we saw the package of tax reform measures in the United States in December last. And I wrote to you last January to get your view on the impact that this could have on significant US multinationals and their deposits in Eurozone banks. You know that the US are proposing a repatriation tax of 15.5%. And I'd be interested for your view, what impact, if any, do you think this could have on Eurozone banks? When I wrote to you last July, you said it would take some time after the proposal to consider the impact, but the impact on liquidity ratios, the impact on a significant outflow from Eurozone banks to the United States to gain this tax advantage. What's your view on that? We'd be interested in that. And my second question relates broadly to the NPL, the non-performing loan issue, which I know is an issue in my own country and elsewhere. My question to you is, as President of the ECB, has the ECB taken consumer protection into account in its guidance to banks with NPLs, and should member states do more in terms of consumer protection to protect those consumers where the loan book is being sold? Thank you very much.
Thank you. The first question, certainly the tax reform in the United States has been a significant policy change. It does provide fiscal stimulus over the next decade that will certainly support US and especially US corporates, and to some extent global GDP growth, although it's kind of early to assess whether spillovers of this policy are going to be significant for the euro area yet. What is going to be significant, I think you're right, what we're already seeing it is large outflows. This policy reform will certainly reshape the tax landscape in the world, and the consequences of this are pretty complex to assess at this point. What is clear is that it certainly is going to increase tax competition. And we are seeing that the large repatriation flows of these very large corporates and the big tax benefits that these corporates are actually receiving are linked. We've seen money outflows moving from European corporates to U.S. corporates, and this is there have been considerable amount of commentary on, and also of market reports about this. So for the time being, we are observing these flows. It's hard to say what the long-term consequences are, because all in all, now it's a good time. So the the economic situation both in Europe but also in the United States is actually going pretty well. And so it's kind of difficult to assess the consequences, the spillovers. As I said, there should be, but it's not clear yet whether they're going to be significant as far as we are concerned. I'm talking about positive spillovers coming from the benefit that are accruing to the United States and therefore on Europe. On the second point, we are not a consumer protection, responsible for consumer protection. The key objective in the whole NPL discussion everywhere is to change the legislative framework, the judiciary, the out-of-court settlement process in a way that makes the NPL disposal as easy and fast as possible. To the extent that this disposal, I'm not saying that this happens, but to the extent that this disposal would generate social consequences, it's quite clear that if the state can do something to mitigate these social consequences, they are welcome for all reasons, for, first of all, equity reasons, but also for the very objective that the disposal of the NPL tries to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you.